Welcome to Hollywood, California. We're excited to come to you from Los Angeles, California, where today we're going to take a look at CoMotion LA, the nation's leading technology show for public transportation. We're going to take a look up close at some of the fun utility vehicles and all the new technology that's happened, and talk to the leader of an ad agency here in LA that's helping promote public transportation across the nation. All on this episode of Transit Unplugged TV. John, we're here in LA, the City of Angels, at your CoMotion show. It's phenomenal, by the way. Tell us about the show.
Well, first of all, Paul, coming from you, that's a really big compliment. So thank you very much. Look, it's the last day. It's been just jam-packed.
What else do you think is coming out of this, in your summary of what you've seen here?
I think a lot of it is in the theme for this year, the multimodal city.
Yes.
Because that's really what it's all about. It's putting all the pieces together. Public transit, micromobility, advanced air mobility options. How do they integrate in more seamless and efficient ways and they will more and more. They're not very integrated now, but going forward they'll be more and more integrated so that it will become a seamless experience to travel across a city or a region by various different modes. You will hardly think about changing those modes, and that will have untold benefits to our economies and to our societies. There's a big equity component because for so many decades, a lot of people have just been left out of transit. They're transit deserts or they're freeways that cut through neighborhoods. So hopefully that will be a thing of the past as we go forward.
Well, let's go out and take a look at some of the brand new tech.
Sure.
John, we're in Little Tokyo in downtown Los Angeles. I want to get to that Japanese American National Museum. How do I get there?
Well, I've got an idea. How about we take this all-electric Arcimoto FUV?
That sounds fun. Let's do it.
So what's really cool about the Arcimoto platform is that we can do a lot of stuff with this small skateboard platform. So this is a Cameo. This is a prototype filming vehicle. So the driver's here, and then the back seat, we flip this around.
Okay.
And then you put your camera here and where you can film.
So
we've had a lot of conversations with the Hollywood production houses. This is just a nice, easy, quiet way to film. We film most of our rolling footage for our own vehicles.
You're getting Paul really excited now, I think.
Oh, yeah.
John, I'm no aerodynamic professional, but I don't think this is going to fly.
You don't think so?
No.
You never heard of flying trucks? Come on, man. So, look, this is not a flying truck, obviously.
Okay.
It is designed to show the noise, the limited noise of motors on the new generation of electric vertical takeoff aircraft.
VTOLs,
like this. And Overair is a company from Southern California. They're developing this amazing aircraft. It's one of several eVTOL OEMs that are present here. And when we talk about multimodality, one of the modes we're going to be hearing more and more about in the future is air mobility over cities.
John, what is this?
Well, this is one of the really cool, innovative companies that it's actually, I think, Alex, you were here last year.
We were, yeah.
And Drover AI is from Southern California, developed here in Southern California. It's an amazing module that attaches to electric scooters.
In practice, it means that our customers like Spin are able to identify when a rider is on a sidewalk, a street, or a bike lane, and take adequate action that to comply with existing rules to slow you down or disable you on the sidewalk, give you full speed in a bike lane or on the street, and then at the end of the ride to identify if you're being parked properly. Again, using the camera as a sensor to visually recognize whether you're in a designated parking zone or not, and give 100% insight at the end of every ride, good, bad, or indifferent, which leads to better outcomes, so proactive compliance rather than putting the cities in a reactive enforcement position with these new modalities.
John, we're excited to be giving away pre-publication copies of this book. This book actually launched today. We've been giving away today at your show. It's conversations on equity and inclusion in public transportation. That's a hot topic right now, right?
And a big theme of the conference, by the way.
Is that right?
So,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Dimitriy, you just finished a session here at CoMotion. What did you talk about?
I was just in a session hosted by Ronnie from LA Metro, who runs the biggest microtransit program in the nation, and we dove deep on microtransit all around the country.
I really think, I even wrote a chapter, it's the only chapter I wrote about in my new book, Conversations on Equity and Inclusion, that microtransit plays a big role in ensuring that no one gets left behind. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. It's the new mode in public transit that's driving equity like never before. And it's really exciting to see this mode take off, because now the great infrastructure we have in cities with rail and bus is more accessible with these microtransit services.
And TNCs like Uber, what role are you all playing?
So we're a complement to microtransit operation. For example, in cities like Dallas, they have 32 unique microtransit zones that help folks move around their community, whether that's going to their grocery store or help them commute by connecting them to the local rail infrastructure. And what we do is we provide overflow service. When their dedicated vehicles get too engaged and those ETAs climb to 15, 20 minutes, all of a sudden riders get dispatched Uber Pool instead to keep that quality of service at a high level.
And I understand that TNCs aren't having the same trouble that maybe transit agencies are in recruiting drivers, because it's a different style of driver. A gig worker is a little bit different than showing up in a uniform, working 8 hours a day in a marked vehicle, talking to a dispatcher, right?
Absolutely.
Now that we're in 2023, what do you see coming for us this year when it comes to microtransit and the role of the smaller vehicles in public transportation and mobility in general?
I think it's really exciting to see actually non-dedicated providers become integrated with those platforms that run microtransit. So now you no longer have to even have an Uber account or any other non-dedicated provider that's partnering with a transit agency. You can get that benefit directly in the technology that the agency uses to run their day-to-day operations. So it makes it much more seamless for the rider and for the agency to manage the program both with their vehicles and non-dedicated providers like Uber.
Jaspal, you're the head of UITP North America. What are some of the hottest trends happening now across North America when it comes to technology and public transport?
Thanks for having me, Paul. I would say the trends are global. What's happening around the world is same happening in North America. We see a lot of electrification of buses. We see on-demand transit, which is becoming hot and hot. And we are also seeing a lot of use of technology for maintenance, for operation side. And I think it will accelerate in coming years. The agencies will see there is a lot of need for putting more of technology to reduce the cost and bring better efficiency. So I think trends are global, and we will just see more acceleration of technology in transit.
UITP has a big summit coming up in Barcelona. What's going to be the focus of that?
Oh man, that's the theme of this summit is bright light of the city. We want to showcase that the public transit is the bright light of the city. So each city should have public transit, and investment in public transit is very important, especially this time when we are facing low recovery from the transit, from the passenger and ridership. So the theme is how to promote public transit around the globe.
I think that's awesome, and I think coming out of the pandemic, public transportation and the mobility it provides really is the antidote to the lockdowns that happened during the pandemic. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's a big change. We are seeing a lot of challenge for the recovery side, but I think things will be better. And what transit operator need to do is to make it more like a lifestyle now, rather than just a point A to point B. You need to make it more conscious people about the climate change, sustainability, and all. So let's hope things will get better in future.
Yeah, I think at the in the peak of the pandemic, many transit agencies had a moment to reflect on what's our reason to exist. Is it just about taking commuters from A to B, or is it more? And you say it's more, right?
Oh, it's more. I mean, you need to see what people are looking, especially when people are doing a lot of remote working. Our peaks are changed. People don't have peak on Monday anymore or Tuesday, so peak are happening on Wednesday, Thursday, and on weekend. So people are looking public transit to have more leisure activities going and spending time. So we need to rethink how the transit should exist. And we should connect with the young population more now, because they are the one who will be use public transit more in future. I think we need to rethink the whole strategy of how to look at the public transit, not just as a vehicle, but as a human-centric approach and how to move people around.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Jaspal. Stacey, tell us about some of the innovations you're working on there in New York City.
Sure. So, hello. Stacey Matlen. I run a public-private partnership called the Transit Innovation Partnership, where we work with the MTA and all the regional transit agencies in New York to help them test new technologies and solve their pressing challenges. And one of the companies that have gone through our program successfully is a company called Protect. They applied to the 2018 challenge, how can we make buses more efficient and run faster through our streets in New York? And it turns out that bus maintenance and bus failures is often a big reason why buses can not deliver on-time performance. And so they have a predictive analytics and predictive maintenance where they can see 48 hours before the check engine light comes on when the bus is going to fail or when it should go into maintenance. And they also provide very specific analytics around why the bus is going to fail and what the maintenance person needs to look out to. So it increases efficiency in operations and also reduces staff time and costs. So it's really a win-win solution that has now been fully secured by the MTA for long-term procurement.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's fantastic to be here in sunny LA. And today is very much about collaborating with other city authorities, working with some of the investors, working with some of the startups, and really understanding how can we co-develop solutions together to solve some of our city problems. And it's been fantastic. The atmosphere is brilliant. The conversations have been fantastic. And I'm sure we'll take things away here and do things going forward.
How is the Elizabeth line going?
It is fantastic. I'd encourage any of your viewers to visit the Elizabeth line. It connects East and West London. You can get across London really quickly. It's a brilliant service and the architecture and the infrastructure is fantastic.
Shin-pei, tell us what Uber's doing right now in public transit.
We're really excited to partner with public transit agencies all across the country on helping them co-create new services that supplement their conventional fixed route, fixed schedule systems and helping them find cost efficiencies, maintaining their workforce, and just basically helping them deploy their assets in a much more effective way.
Public transportation has a part of it which is communicating to the masses about what they do. Tell us about your role and how you specialize that as Pulsar Advertising.
Well, we're an advertising agency, Paul, that specializes in understanding the public in continuous motion. We do what we call mobility marketing, and that is understanding the journey that each person takes in going from one place to another. We specialize in understanding the passenger journey as it goes along all day, so that we can help transit agencies best capture those audiences that could be their potential customers.
And tell us about some specifics of what you've done. I know you were big in New York City. You did some big projects for them.
So one of the great things that we did for New York, and working for the New York MTA is an amazing experience. Just because the pure size of it is the agency itself, the value of all the real estate is over $1 trillion.
Wow!
So you're talking about $1 trillion agency. So this is one of the biggest transit agencies in the world, probably.
Right. And you also helped them launch some new services, right?
We helped them launch the Second Avenue subway. We rebranded the Long Island Railroad. We help them rebrand their Getaway Packages program in a way that they can actually reach out and promote all the leisure activities in New York.
Okay. So where do you think we can get a good bite to eat this morning here? We always like to focus a little bit on food as well.
Well, let's go across the street. We have a great breakfast place, a very LA place.
All right.
It's called Literary, so let's head up there.
Sounds good, thanks.
All right.
So Alberto, tell me some about your background. How did you get into this business?
Well, I'm originally from Mexico City, and I came to the United States as an exchange student, and ended up redoing my last year of high school, in which I took a year on photography, and I fell in love with photography and the ability to communicate anything with audiences. You create this amazing photograph, and the way you can make somebody feel about a specific subject is extremely a wonderful experience, and it got me addicted. It's the first time I felt addicted in communicating. After that, went home to ask my parents. I wanted to be a photographer, and my dad, who had taken photography as his main hobby, loved the idea of me becoming a photographer. And so somehow, I don't know how this happened, my mom had in her agenda the address and the name of Ansel Adams, the father of photography in the United States. And then she connected me, and through his connections with the Academy of Art College in San Francisco, I ended up transferring to San Francisco to learn about photography. And I went to school to really become a great communicator through photography. And one day, as one of the requirements, I had to take a class in advertising. And so my first assignment was to come up with some concepts on how to sell a burglar alarm. And I went home and I started designing concepts and coming up with ideas on how to do that. And ended completely addicted to advertising. So, oh my God, I got it from photography to advertising, and now I had the real ability to come up with concepts all the time and try to communicate with people. And I'm addicted to communicating with people.
When I was in Baltimore as CEO of the MTA, I remember you came in and helped me design all kinds of amazing things that we have never thought of, like a beautiful polar map of the system, the only one in the world that was kind of a reverse neon style, and we were working on a comic book. And your creative ideas, Aberto, are amazing.
Thank you.
You've won probably more awards than any other ad agency in transit, than any other ad agency I know.
And transportation in general. I think,
Yes.
yeah, that's the case. And we're just really proud of the work that we're doing. We're happy that it is being recognized. But what the real big thing, the real high in doing this is watching people actually leaving their cars and getting onto the bus, onto trains, onto commuter services, and really changing their life, because there is a better way to get around in the regions that people live if you just leave your car behind.
Yes, that's good. What do you think is happening right now in public transit? I mean, you've got your finger on the pulse of what's happening across the country.
Well, I got to tell you, transit agencies have had to relearn what do they do. They had to figure out where they're going, who they are, because COVID came to really humble a lot of people, a lot of transit agencies, and they realized that they were creating a lot of products that people were not buying, and they had to rethink what are the products, how do people really feel about their commute, how do people really feel about transportation in general. And it's extremely important for transit agencies to remember the lessons learned during this COVID period of rethinking who they are, who their audience is, really understanding the journey of their passengers and what is that like, and the touch points that they have with all of them, because developing a relationship with the passenger is much more than just putting a nice ad in your website or a poster online. It requires that you really get into the mindset of each of your passengers. What are they doing? Where are they going? What's important to them? And what are they doing in between? Because from the moment that a passenger gets on your bus, the moment they get off, the thousands of activities that they actually engage in are big, and this is what's important to them. This is their world. Their world is traveling in your world. So how can you benefit them? How can you add value to their experience? That's going to be a big thing, and I think we learn to understand the values that transit can bring to each of the region and the citizens that uses the service.
That's wonderful. CoMotion LA has delivered once again, taking us up close in person with the latest cutting-edge technology, empowering public transportation to move our cities and world into the next level of mobility on this episode of Transit Unplugged TV.